now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to your RBLR Rays podcast. I'm Ben here hosting. Zach is off today, so he won't be joining us, but we do have a guest on. Bree Gonzalez from Raise the Roof is with us. What do you want me to call you? And thanks for being on. So hi.
Hi, you can just do Bree.
Okay, cool.
That works for you.
Yeah, sounds good. How's it going?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. We've got Eureka in the background lurking again quietly. He'll probably drop stuff in Discord if we miss anything or whatever. So, yeah, I guess we'll just get right into it. I know it was kind of a slow week this week. Not too many crazy things happened, but since the last time we recorded our podcast here, the Rays picked up Mike Zunino's option, so that's pretty cool. I know that you were pretty happy about that too, so we're excited. Any thoughts on how long you think Zunino might stay as a Ray? I mean, I know we have him for, one more year, hopefully.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it depends on the development of the guys we have in the minors, because Blake Hunt, he might be protected in the Rule 5, probably. And, they're kind of really putting a lot of, I guess I just see a lot of potential in him. Ford Proctor as well. He plays another position too, but he catches. So just depending on how those guys are, and then also how Zunino's market looks like, does he have another season like last season and create this insane amount of value for himself? Or does he kind of fall off again? And, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm excited to have him here. He brings so much value to a pitching staff, especially one as young and as constantly changing as ours. So it's a good, veteran piece of stability, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point about like the minor league depth and stuff that's still being developed. Because I know even further down the line is like Matt Dyer, but he plays like every position except for pitcher. So I don't know if he'll stick a catcher, but it's interesting how that could change as the season goes on, especially depending on like how Zunino plays. And I don't know if he could have like as good of a season as he did last year. I mean, I'd love for him to do that, but it seemed like a bit of an outlier. So I think he could, I don't think he'll be terrible, but
You also have to think though that when the Rays traded for him, this is more in line with what they expected. I'm not saying they expected him to do like all that, but this is like the kind of player they expected more than, his previous bad seasons. This was their expectation. So even if he regresses, I still think he's going to have a pretty solid year.
Yeah, I think he could still be like, a little bit above average, if not like, fairly above average. But this was a cool season for him. So it was really fun to watch. And he was consistent with it too. Like he was, from the beginning of the season, just hitting the ball hard everywhere. So hopefully he can continue that in some way. But the Rays are going to do it. This is a terrible segue here, but the Rays are going to do it without Ozzie Timmons. He's going to Milwaukee. That kind of sucks. I really liked watching him do push-ups. It was pretty cool, but unfortunately he's, I guess fortunately for him, because he's got like a hitting coach job up in Milwaukee lined up, so that's nice. And he's going to join up with Willy Adames up there.
Yeah, that's exciting. Huge congratulations to him. He had been moved to assistant coaching duties here, and he loves the Tampa Bay area. He's been a huge fixture in this area for such a long time. Loves the team, the community, the fans, and all that. But I mean, we weren't firing Chad Mottola. So no. The truth of the matter is he wasn't going to be the hitting coach. And, going to Milwaukee, they offered him that opportunity to share hitting coaching responsibilities, I guess. And that's a promotion for him. So it's exciting for him. Sad to see him go, but.
No, definitely. I mean, I think he went to UT as well. So he's been in Tampa for a while. So, good for him though. It's a great opportunity. And it just feels like every offseason, so many like Rays coaches and front office guys are like being poached by other teams because, if you can't beat them. You just got to start copying them, I guess. So it's a testament to like what Eric Neander has done, top to bottom. Like everybody's contributing in some way. They're always on like the front lines of innovation. So it's great to have that here, but it also, it hurts a little bit to see some of the guys that we've come to know and like, have to leave. But I mean, they're all taking like good opportunities at other places. So it's understandable.
Yeah. And you also have to think, this might be kind of biased, but when those guys are poached, they go on and do great things with their other organizations, and that makes baseball better as a whole. So, we're just improving the product of the game as a whole, unless you hate the way the Rays do things. Some people do, but for me, it feels like it's making all of baseball better when you're just replicating what the Rays do.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that. It's like they're kind of like shifting like the Overton window, like keeping it moving towards the analytical side of things, and they're not afraid to try new things. And other teams value that clearly, or they wouldn't be taking all these executives and coaches and all that. So there's another guy the Rays lost to the Phillies, I believe. I'm blanking on the name, but he was like a research and development guy who took like an assistant general manager position, I think, possibly. Not 100% sure, but just another Rays front office guy that is smart, young, and offered a great opportunity at another organization. Yeah,
he's going to be assistant general manager. He's 27, so that's crazy. Good for him.
That's insane.
His name is Kalambi, his last name, I believe. Forgive me if I butchered that, but yeah, he was our assistant director of research and development. So, that just shows that other teams want what we have. Even guys like, I've never heard of this guy. Like, no offense.
No, me neither.
I mean, but obviously the Phillies have. So, just, that's insane. We're losing guys that are really talented that haven't even gotten to a role that's like a household name for Rays fans, So.
Right, that's true. I mean, and I don't think he would have, taken Eric Neander's job anytime soon. So it's it's for the best. It works for both parties. So it makes sense. And Neander just finished second in Executive of the Year voting behind, I'm blanking on the name for this one, but the Giants GM guy. Forgot his name already.
Like Farhan?
Yeah, I knew there was a Z.
Like that.
Right.
I think it's like Farhan Zaidi. Yeah.
No, he did a great job over in San Francisco. That was pretty impressive because, I mean, kind of like the Rays, they weren't really like the fans expect a lot, but like, the national media didn't expect much from San Francisco really, especially in that division. But they got it done, and they did a lot with, they definitely have a higher budget than the Rays for sure, higher payroll, but they still found a lot of value in, some older guys that were overlooked by other teams. So it was really cool to see that, and I hope they continue that because I do want Evan Longoria to be successful over there.
Absolutely. Get him his ring. Keep going.
Yeah, he does. I'd like for him to win it here, right? Yeah. I would have preferred if he got it in Tampa, but, he should get one at some point. That would be cool.
Hey, there's still time.
Yeah, there's, 30, what is he, 32, I think, 33?
Something ridiculous. But
yeah, he's got another, 10 years left in him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially if the National League does like, if they implement like a universal DH thing, that would be helpful for a lot of guys. I hope that's, considered heavily in the next collective bargaining agreement. I'm sure it will be, but a lot of interesting stuff coming out about that. Did you see the thing where they were, I guess it was, leaked, I'm doing air quotes, but it was leaked that they were proposing that the owners, I think, proposed paying players by WAR instead of like doing arbitration stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yep, I did see that.
Anything where the owners propose it, I kind of just like roll my eyes and immediately reject it no matter what it is. I know I'm a little biased, like, towards the players, but it just feels like that would go wrong so quickly for so many guys with like injuries and all that. Yeah. It feels not very nice. I'll put it that way.
I would hope that the Players Association wouldn't agree to that.
Yeah.
Or if they did, I hope that there were a lot of parameters set up to kind of protect them. But,
Yeah, I think the Players Association seems like they know exactly what they want in terms of like, revenue sharing and all that. And I really hope they don't budge much, because like without the players, there is no baseball. They could have, they could, it would be, a little tricky, but they could play baseball without owners, but they can't play baseball without players. So I know it's like a very simple thing to say, but like it, I hope the players get what they want and without compromising much, because they really they deserve it. They're the ones who are going out there. They're in the gym, on the field 6-7 days a week, grinding through the minor leagues. And I know you're a big proponent of like, minor league players' rights. We were talking about that before. So, they go through all those trials, and I'm not saying that the owners don't go through hardship, but it's kind of like the players are more are subjected to the tougher conditions and really the grind of being a major league player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, I want it to be fair to the owners as well, because, if the owners aren't happy, then unfortunately, I feel like the fans aren't going to be happy, but maybe that's just Rays fan talk. But, yeah, I don't know. I hope it all works out. I'm a bit nervous about the lockout. That seems almost certain at this point. But
yeah, it really does. Do you think, we'll start on time with spring training when pitchers and catchers are supposed to report like late February or whatever?
So this is kind of a little tangent, but I don't know, because I'm a little bit concerned about how that affects the free agent market and trades and stuff, because when the lockout happens, none of that can go down. So there are going to be teams, once the lockout ends, that are rushing to get pieces, So I don't know what the time frame will be to do that. I don't know if it'll just have to be like when pitchers and catchers report, like at the same time, just still trying to acquire people. But I don't know. I think there's probably going to be a delay, just with how nasty things have gotten over the past few years, how much animosity has built up. At the Trop, someone I know went by there, and they had taken all of the players' like faces and pictures off the front. They're not there right now.
Oh wow!
So yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it could get messy, and I never really thought about the free agent aspect of that, where it's going to be like, nobody's signing, nobody's really making moves, and then when if and when they do come to an agreement, there's going to be a scramble for like, any of the remaining free agents. So I don't think I would like the Rays to sign like maybe an arm or two, but I don't think they need too much on the free agent side. So, thankfully they're probably, set. I know they're going to do a lot of internal promotion and all that, and, move some guys around, but they seem like if the season started today, they could field a pretty decent team with the guys on the 40-man, I think.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about the Rays, but I mean, some teams, if you're like, I don't know, Astros are probably a bad example, but if you're losing Carlos Correa most likely, and you don't know who you're signing at to fill that spot. I know they have like a talented prospect or whatever, but I mean, there are going to be teams with actual, real, legitimate holes that they can't, just field a team without patching up. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be another interesting season. I feel like we haven't had one like a normal season since like, 2018, 2019. Yeah. Because it's been like with the COVID, and then this past season, like nobody really knew how players would respond going from that 60 game to 162 game season. And now we might have like a lockout shortened season. I hope not, but it looks like that could be a possibility. So maybe next year will be a normal season, not like this one, but like the following one, I guess. I don't know. But oh well. Some other news we've got, Randy is a Rookie of the Year finalist along with Wander Franco and Luis Garcia. I think Randy it's probably his to lose, I'd imagine, but I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would agree. Just, he has the body of work over Wander. And I know that's something that is usually heavily factored in. Right. And I mean, he wasn't outstanding at any one thing, but he was just good at everything. Very well rounded. So, yeah, I mean, he was a finalist for Silver Slugger as well, wasn't he? Did I make that?
I think so. I know he was a Gold Glove finalist too. So I mean, he was just like you said, good at many things.
Yeah, and he stole bases. He had his 2020 season that was a goal for him going in. So yeah, I mean, he was just really good, and there were a lot of really talented rookies this past season. I know a lot of people were upset that Mountcastle wasn't a finalist, and I understand that. But I mean, if you look at the numbers, like, he was just a little bit behind in most areas. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say it's Randy's to lose. We'll see how that goes. I think Wander does have an outside shot of getting it just because of, what he did in those 70 games that he played. But just knowing how historically body of work has played a pretty big factor, I would assume it's Randy's.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if Wander played the same amount of games as Randy, I think that would, I think it would probably go to Wander. But I like Randy, and it's cool to see the Rays. I feel like they've always kind of have like one or two guys every season in like the Rookie of the Year race. So I mean, or at least like somewhere in like the top 5, not necessarily like a top 3 guy, but they have 2 in the top 3 this time. So
yeah, and McClanahan, he's going to finish top 10 as well.
Oh yeah, he was amazing this season. He was the ace when Glasnow went down. So those are big shoes to fill, especially as a rookie, because I mean, rookies are, no players in the major league is going to be terrible because, they made it to the majors, they're decent players, but rookies typically aren't that great because they're still learning, the league, they're learning like the ins and outs, all the like the little things, whatever. So, with Randy, I believe he led all rookies in Baseball Reference WAR, and like he was around like I think 3.3 or something like that, which is good, but that's good enough for like I think 60th or something overall in the league. So like the best rookie is like the 60th best player in baseball by WAR. So it's interesting how rookies are exciting, they're entertaining, they're usually good players, but they're typically not like great yet. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know exactly where I was going with this. I just think it's interesting that he was so good, but comparatively to like, some of the veteran guys, he was like pretty average. So
yeah, that is interesting. It does make you think, if Wander had played the way he did in those 70 games across a whole season, like where would he rank in that type of thing,
Right. I feel like he'd be an all-star at least.
For sure.
Just because of the production. But we also have Kevin Cash. He's, in the running for Manager of the Year for like the 30th season in a row, it feels like. I don't see how he loses this one. I mean, the expectations the Rays had from national media, not the fans, going into the season, the injuries, winning 100 games, all that in a tough division. I think it's Cash's to lose in this race as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Cervase could get it, or
right,
Service.
that's
I don't
true.
even know how you say his name, but just because of how the season ended and how strong they finished, and then the voting is at the end, Right. So I could see that kind of influencing it. But yeah, I mean, over a whole season, if you're looking at how things went, 100 wins when we were expected to be a 3rd or 4th place team is really incredible, and doing so with losing Glasnow and Snell and Morton and all that stuff. So yeah,
no, that makes sense, and I agree. And I think Cash, I mean, I'm gonna gas him up all the time because I think he's one of the best coaches just in sports in general because of the way he carries himself and all that, but didn't get ejected this season. I think that says something. He's not going to leave his team out there to fend for themselves when they're down, anything like that. The Rays didn't really have any guys that overperformed a whole lot. So most of it was him like mixing and matching, platooning, I know a lot of the games are, run by computers almost, but he really does a great job with the human element part of it. And I don't know, he's a great like personality manager too. Like he really, keeps everybody happy, even if they're not necessarily playing a ton, but everybody's going to pinch hit. Everybody gets pinch hit for. And he just does a great job creating a culture where everybody looks like they're having fun every single day. And I feel like we don't see that necessarily with like every team, really.
Yeah, I agree. And, seeing him at the All-Star game, you could kind of see more of his personality because it was just fun and he wasn't stressed out the whole time. But like when Zunino hit that home run, how happy he was and how he was playing around with Nelson Cruz in the dugout saying, yeah, you can manage this inning, that kind of thing. I mean, he's just so awesome. He knows when to push all the right buttons. And, a lot of people say, oh, he's managing from a script or whatever. Yeah, everyone should be. Because, like, if you don't have a plan for any specific scenario that arises, then you're not doing your job. So, but, I mean, they'll interview him sometimes and they'll be like, yeah, so did you put this guy into pinch hit because of X, Y, and Z? He'll be like, no, I felt like it was time to get him in. I didn't even know those numbers, but thanks for telling me. So, I don't know. He's just awesome. When Joe Maddon left, I really thought that they were not going to be able to find someone to replace him. And then Kevin Cash just exceeded all expectations. It's better even. So...
Yeah, I agree. I'm always kind of scared to say, like, I like Kevin Cash better than Joe Maddon. And I love Joe Maddon, don't get me wrong, but Kevin Cash he's really good at his job, especially for being like one of the younger managers too. Like he's not, I mean, I guess, what is he, like 40, I want to say 47, maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, I mean, he's relatively inexperienced compared to some of the other, Tony La Russa, AJ Hinch, whatever, those kinds of guys. But
43.
43. Okay, I was close. That's not terrible. Thanks for fact checking me on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's just a great coach, and I feel like he would be good coaching other sports because of the way he just kind of like, if a guy has a bad game, he'll put him right back out there, like especially with relief pitchers. So just the things like that, and yeah, he seems very well respected too. Like I've never felt like I have with other teams that I love to rip on the Yankees. So like with Aaron Boone, like I feel like he loses the clubhouse like once or twice a month. And I feel like the media kind of blows it out of proportion because it's New York, but you can kind of see it with the reactions from some of the players. So love having Kevin Cash here for sure. Not too much else is happening right now in the offseason. I know the Arizona Fall League, Curtis Mead is just tearing it up. He's pretty interesting. We went from kind of like a fringe top 30 prospect like about a year and a half ago to being like a top 20 prospect, top 15 for the Rays right now. He just hits the ball really hard, and he's not the biggest guy. I mean, he's like 6'2", I think, but he's got a really quick bat, and he kind of looks like... I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good player to compare him to, like that's in the majors right now. But I love his bat speed. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play much, but I keep seeing all of his, highlights up there. And yeah, I mean, that's exciting to know that we have more bats coming up because, I was kind of concerned that when Wander and eventually Bruhan and Josh Lowe all came up, I was like, oh, who's next? I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. Seeing these guys step up, and not even just him, but I think Basabe is also doing well in the Fall League. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really exciting. And the fact that he's Australian is just so fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Love that.
I saw, that reminds me, I saw Grant Balfour one time when I was getting a haircut. It was kind of weird. I didn't say anything to him because I was like, that's not him, is it? Why would he get a haircut? Like, I guess everybody gets haircuts, so it makes sense. But, yeah, it was cool.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, but we need more Australians in St. Pete, I guess. So it'd be cool to see Curtis Mead get up. I don't know if he'll, make it this season, but if he keeps up the same pace, I don't really see why not, especially if, the Rays are continuing to rotate guys, if there are injuries, whatever. whatever. I know they have a lot of 40-man roster decisions coming up that I think they have to finalize by the 19th. I'm pretty sure.
That is going to be scary.
Yeah, I think this next week is gonna heat up a little bit with the news. So, any guys that you would really, really, really not want them to lose at all?
I mean, class now.
Right.
Like, I'll be so upset. But at this point, I think that's kind of a coin flip. So,
right.
A little bit concerned, but I don't know. But other than that, I mean, everyone else. Well, first of all, we'll start off. Wander and Boz are not on the table for trades. We'll just put that out there. They're safe. Everyone else, I mean, I would think that McClanahan would be off the table, but like, you never really know. Same with Randy. I would hope not.
Right.
But like, depending on what they're getting, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to be sad to see anyone go because I really enjoyed this team, top to bottom. But I think we're going to have to lose quite a few in this next week. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how they're going to do it. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sad to see Margot go. And I know he's one of the ones that people think is going to go. I'm not really sure because I think he actually didn't have his best season. So why would you trade somebody when their value's not at its highest and they still can give you some good production next year? But we'll see. I think Austin Meadows is gone.
I think so too. Yeah. Unless he moves to first. I feel like if Austin Meadows could somehow learn first base in like the next month or like next week and be okay at it, I think he might stick around. But yeah, I feel like I like having him on the team, 100 RBI season, whatever. It's great. It's kind of a team stat, but it's still, it says something about this Rays offense. But I think him and maybe even Choi might be on the way out. I would love to keep Choi, but I don't know. I know Dalton Kelly is a minor league free agent now, but I like what he brings. I really like his patience. He's got he just gets on base and I love that. Yeah. So hopefully they figure out a way to re-sign him. But I think pretty much everybody seems like they could, with the exception of like Boz. I think Lau is going to stick around. Because just to spite everybody that wants to get rid of him, I think he's staying around.
Plus,
I love him.
He's probably the best player on the team aside from Wander, which
right. Yeah, I think he's the best hitter on the team for sure, and probably the best player. Honestly, he had the highest WAR, so it's kind of. I mean, I know WAR isn't perfect, but it's He had a fantastic season, even after a bit of a slow start that was kind of unlucky, but. Yeah, so I think he'll stick around. But yeah, I think Randy even could possibly maybe get moved. I agree. I wouldn't be surprised. My feelings would be a little bit hurt, but I trust the front office with my life, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, same thing. Randy and McClanahan. I selfishly hope no one touches ever because I love him. But at the same time, I feel like him and Randy are kind of in that category where they could be moved to open spots and bring in somebody big. So.
Yeah, I think if they do make a big free agent signing, I agree. I think they would probably have to drop one of move one of the higher end players like Randy or maybe hopefully not McClanahan because I love him too. Yeah, and there are just so many minor league options too that do need protection that are almost ready to come up, but maybe not. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it this week, but I'm also not because I know terrified. something that I don't something that I don't want to happen is going to happen, and I'm going to have to just be okay with it because there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited about. I really hope. It's kind of a stretch, but the reliever they had that won reliever of the year, Colby White, I hope he makes the team out of spring training. I've been getting into him a little bit, looking up his stuff. He's really interesting as just a really good reliever, high strikeout guy. Could be a nice bullpen option for sure. or an opener option if they still want to move forward with that. But yeah, and another guy, Blake Hunt, them to keep him on the roster for sure for obvious reasons. He, came over in the Blake Snell deal. Ford Proctor, I know you mentioned him early on. I think he's pretty interesting. He plays shortstop and catcher, which is a cool combination. So
weird combination.
Yeah, but if it works, I mean, why not? He seems like he's got a decent bat. Puts the ball in play. I'm kind of blanking on some of the other names right now, but I think there are some
Tommy Romero and Tobias Myers. One of them is probably going to stay and one of them is probably going to go. And I'm going to be so sad to see whoever leaves. But I just don't know how they protect both with the amount of space they have.
I'd like to see them keep Tobias Myers. I don't know. I mean, I know I like both of them, but I know a little bit more about Tobias Myers because I remember frantically Googling him when they traded Tim Beckham 100 years ago. And I'm like, who's this guy that they got for Tim Beckham? And I believe it was Tobias Myers. And I was like, oh, he seems kind of cool. And then he just had this incredible season this past season. So love to see them.
Tommy Romero, I believe. I don't know if it was a minor league award or if it was just a Rays organizational award, but he won best control or best command or something.
Okay.
So I don't know, but he also had an outstanding year, and it was overshadowed because of all the other pitchers we had in Durham going with Joe Ryan and Boz was down there and all those other guys. So, but he was outstanding as well.
Right. Yeah, no, he was really impressive. I feel like, especially in the minor league playoffs too, so many Rays pitchers were just stepping up and throwing 7 innings of shutout baseball and dominating other teams. It was a really good season top to bottom in the organization. So pretty happy about that. Can't complain when they're winning a lot of games. That kind of pretty much covers a lot of the news that's happening right now. I know Jordan Luplow and Kevin Kiermaier had some minor maintenance surgery type things, but they're going to be ready for spring training. I felt like KK might be someone that they move, but I don't know if the lockout thing and now this it's a minor surgery, so I don't know if it would affect his trade status. But between the lockout and the surgery, I don't know if he'll get moved anytime soon. I wouldn't mind keeping him, but I feel like he might be one on the way out.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I almost feel like if they trade him, they're probably going to have to eat some of his salary, I would assume. Right. Which, at that point, honestly, I feel like you might as well keep him. Yeah. But, I mean, if they just need to open the spot, which, I mean, obviously they might have to do that, then, that's fine as well. But, yeah, I wouldn't mind keeping him at all. He actually had a really good offensive season for him. So,
Yeah, I mean, the speed definitely helps, play up when he's just, putting the ball in play. But he had a really good, he had a pretty good season. And especially in the second half, I feel like once the trade rumors kind of cooled off and he really just, got into a rhythm and it was awesome. And he had a pretty good postseason, had the worst ground rule double of all time, but I'm going to try not to think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the center field market is not great right now. So, I mean, he could get some value, but outside of, I think, what's his name? Kettle Marte. Is he the center fielder in Arizona?
I believe so.
I think okay, then outside of him, maybe Brett Gardner is the other center fielder that, could get some money this offseason. I don't know. I think KK, if they do trade him, it could be this offseason. But like you said, I'd be fine with them keeping him. He's going to provide elite defense and hopefully an above average bat. And that's good for whatever WAR he had. I think he had a three wins above replacement on Baseball Reference. Not 100% sure. Probably should have looked that up. But yeah, he had a good season, so I wouldn't mind keeping him either. So I guess that's about all of it for the off-season news, unless there's anything I'm missing here that you want to throw in.
Not that I can think of.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, I do have a couple questions for you just to get your thoughts on, because I know, we've never had you on here before, but it's been great so far. It's been really fun, but I've got some questions. I know I sent them to you a little bit ago, but just want to know, what was your favorite moment from this season?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this the other day before you sent me that, and I was like, man, there were so many good moments this season. There was Wander's debut. It felt like the beginning of a new era, which, that was a weekday game, and people came from all over. So that was really cool. Zunino's All-Star Game home run, because I love Mike Zunino, and just seeing him after all the crap that people say about him.
Oh, yeah.
Like the past few seasons, and then just the All-Star Game home run. That was awesome. Yarbrough's complete game in New York, that gets overlooked a lot because
it does.
Everyone hates Ryan Yarbrough, but Kevin Cash let Ryan Yarbrough throw a complete game. And just because, I don't know, because the last almost complete game they had, I believe, was Yarbrough's one he had perfect going into the ninth or something.
Was that in Seattle?
Yeah, and he got
okay. I remember that. Yeah,
and to kind of let him go this time, I just thought that was a really cool moment. And honestly, for the other pitchers on the staff too, just to know that, listen, if you have a really good game and all the stars line up, I will let you go, type thing. I thought that was kind of an important moment, actually, just for the young guys to see. It's not never. It just has to be the right time. Phillips' walk-off slam at home was really cool.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Just him jumping into the crowd. But my favorite thing from the season was actually a series against Toronto in May, which is so obscure. But it was a 4-game series, and the Rays swept the series. But the first game of that series, right before it, they had traded Willy Adames. And that was in the middle of their win streak, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to destroy the team. Just the clubhouse is going to go downhill. Everyone's going to be freaking out. It's not going to go well. They went and they won those 4 games, and I believe all 4 of them, they came down to the 9th inning or extras. So that was just really cool. A really, resilient moment. Glasnow's worst game was that first game. They came back and won. I don't know, just that series was when I realized everything is going to be okay. Mejia had his grand slam, just bunch of really cool stuff that series. I thought it was kind of a defining moment for the team.
Yeah, definitely. That was a really good answer. Wow, I completely forgot about that series. That was I remember watching or listening on the radio while I'm driving, and I'm like, they just won that game, coming back like that. And it was just, I'm more of a pitcher's duel kind of guy, but I really liked those games because they were pretty intense and exciting, and everybody was hitting, everybody was, doing their job. It was pretty cool. So that was a good moment from the season for sure. What about your least favorite moment?
I mean, this one's really easy for me. This is the one I just didn't even have to think about, but when Tyler Glasnow got hurt, yeah. I knew right away. I was like, oh no. Just the way he was shaking his arm, even on the mound, I was like, is he okay? And then he wasn't okay. So, that really sucked a lot. But
yeah. That hurt. That was really painful.
Yes.
To watch. I mean, I'm sure it was even more painful to experience, but yeah, that sucked. But I mean, he'll hopefully be back in a Rays. I think he'll be back in a Rays uniform,
he should
after next season. I don't see why not. Just, hopefully they'll keep him.
The only reason why not is just the space.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see.
Yeah, he's an elite talent, so I think they'll find a way to keep him.
He's an elite talent that's going to get paid less than $5 million this year. So if they don't keep him, he'll be pissed.
Right, that's true. So that kind of leads into the next question. Who's your favorite player currently on the Rays?
So it's Glasnow. I'm sure everyone listening is shocked. I love pitchers, and just my expectations for him coming into the season were honestly not very high. Just because, in prior seasons he had Snell and Morton in front of him. He didn't always have great command. He was kind of one of those guys who would go 4 or 5 innings and get a ton of strikeouts, but give up a lot of contact, it felt like. And I was like, oh my God, he's supposed to be the ace now. How is that going to work? And he came in and shut me up real quick because he was just phenomenal. He would have won the Cy Young if he pitched the whole year.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, it wouldn't have even been close. But so yeah, he's my favorite. But since he's hurt and not playing ever again, it seems like Mike Zunino will sub in as my favorite for the time being.
That's a good choice. I like Zunino and Glasnow. And to be fair, like, you know, I was not super high on him heading into the season either because he really is, I mean, he was like a 2-pitch pitcher, but that slider was just insane. It's exactly what he needed. So I think when he does come back and play for the Rays again, I'm going to manifest it happening. I think he's going to be phenomenal still. And, but yeah, he was definitely going to win the Cy Young. That slider, curveball, fastball combo is just.
And you have to think, because I guess when they were talking about his injury, after it was announced he needed Tommy John, he was like, yeah, this has been an issue I've had since 2019. So we really haven't seen a healthy Tyler Glasnow yet, which is terrifying. Like, imagine if he had been healthy this whole time. Like, what does that even look like? A healthy Tyler Glasnow with a slider?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, that's not
just
fair.
Absurd.
And I know I'm pretty confident he's, you know, one of those people that's going to take his rehab very, very seriously. Not that other players don't, but he's such a competitor that, like, he's going to do anything he can to, like, you know, get any kind of recovery advantage, whether it's like keeping his arm above his head for whatever. I don't know what the recovery process is like, but whatever he has to do, he's going to do it, and he's going to do it really well because that's just the type of person he is. So I think he'll be back for the start of the 2023 season. I could see that happening.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Who is your favorite Rays player of all time?
I really think it's going to end up being Glasnow.
Nice.
Yeah, but, you know, for the time being, I'll say Wade Davis was my first favorite player. I loved him. I don't even know why, but I still have his poster on my wall. I don't know. He was just really cool, and he's one of the ones that kind of got me interested in pitching and why I like pitching so much.
Right.
So Wade Davis is up there. Then also, I mean, I have to be basic and just say Evan Longoria, just because he was such a staple for the team and for the area. So, yeah.
I that's a good answer. I would have gone with Dan Johnson, I think, just because, like, I feel like he embodies, like, the Rays so well. Like, you know, he's got big moments, but then other than that, like, you know, what else did he do, really? I mean, but, you know, he's great. He's going to be a Ray forever. And I really wish his comeback as, like, a knuckleballer would have worked out, but it didn't, unfortunately. So,
yeah,
you know, but I'm kind of glad because I feel like I'm happy with, like, the final moments as a Ray, like being, like, you know, the game 162. I don't know how much I would have liked to remember him getting shelled as a knuckleballer, because it probably would have happened. It would have been not great, maybe not terrible, but not great. So who's your favorite non-Rays player?
Okay, so this one I had a hard time with. I love Shohei because he seems like such a sweetheart, and obviously he's like the coolest player ever. I mean, just with how well he pitches and hits. And then just his personality. I mean, he's the whole package. Love the guy. Also, just kind of more on the pitching side, I love Dylan Cease. I think he's so cool. And I think he's going to be so, so good. And, you know, as he progresses. So.
Yeah, he's pretty talented. Like, he's got a great arm. So I like Ohtani too. He's pretty cool. He's just, he's so interesting. Like, I feel like he's just good at everything, and that's pretty cool to see that, because, like, I don't see how he doesn't win MVP at this point. He's one of the best hitters, one of the best pitchers. Like, nobody else can touch that, really. I thought Brendan McKay might have been able to, but he's got to get his injury stuff figured out. But
Lord, Brendan McKay.
I know. I'm a little sad about that. But I mean, he's starting to get healthy. He looked okay, and then he got not healthy again. So maybe this will be his season. I don't know. We'll see.
So.
All right. Last one. And I know you said you had, maybe a couple of answers for this. So what's a hill that you die on as a Rays fan?
Well, Ryan Yarbrough is good. You're just mean. That one tweet I had that one time.
100% agree. That. No, of course not.
But yeah, he's good. One of the things I think he had an issue with his cutter not getting in enough on, I think it was right-handed hitters. And I think that was a big problem with, how things went for him this season, and he just couldn't fix that. But that is a correctable thing that he can work on in the off season. Like, that's mechanics, location type thing. He's not broken.
Right.
He just had an issue. So that's fun. But the bigger one is pitching didn't end either of the last two postseasons. Offense did, which I know is also a hot take. I love Brandon Lau to death, but the Rays would have won those games if him or Nelson Cruz hit. Like, that's just...
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just how it goes. Like, the pitching, it wasn't as good as Rays pitching can and should be, but those games were all winnable. So they just needed the one hit, and then the same in the prior postseason. I mean, that one isn't all on Brandon Lau at all, but I mean, the whole offense was just not alive. And you could talk about, the pitching not being as good as it could have been. Glasnow wasn't good. Anderson wasn't good. But ultimately, they didn't score any runs. So.
Yeah, that's true. You're going to have a hard time winning games without scoring.
Yeah. People want to blame the pitching every time something goes poorly, but, you got to hit sometimes, too.
Yeah. No, that's completely fair. I agree. I think they kept him in the game. That's kind of what pitching is supposed to do. Like, you're not always going to be able to shut teams out, but they were in every game and they had scoring opportunities in, every game. It seemed like almost every inning there was at least some kind of chance. And it was cool that Wander came through a couple times. So I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to do that. But yeah, it was a little disappointing to see the offense kind of fall flat. But I mean, that's, postseason baseball, I guess. Like, you just got to get there and then whatever happens, happens, because it's kind of like a coin toss at that point. Like, the Braves, they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. But like, I don't know if they were the best team in the playoffs, but they won the most. So I mean, that's what matters at the end of the day. So
I agree.
They made good moves too, at the deadline. So I think that just about covers it. I definitely it was cool having you on. This was awesome. You definitely you know baseball. It's cool. Not that other people don't, but it's just whatever. So yeah. Again, thank you to our loyal fans for listening. Remember, anybody who's listening right now, you can follow us on our social medias. We're on everything at RBLR Sports. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever, YouTube even. We're everywhere. So yeah, thank you everybody for listening. And do you want to plug any of your stuff, Bree, like your socials, anything like that?
Sure. I am at Bree_Gonzalez 3 on Twitter, and then I'm part of the Raise the Roof network. So if you just do at Raise the Roof on Twitter, then that is us as well. So yeah.
Nice. And just one more quick question: is 3 your favorite number, or were there just other Bree Gonzalez's on Twitter? I'm just curious.
I think it was at the time. I guess the Evan Longoria influence was heavy. Now it's 4.
That makes sense.
So.
Okay. Cool. Well, awesome. Thanks for coming on, and thank you everybody for listening. So go Rays.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.